The Holloway family of Tennessee enjoyed spending their summer nights on their front porch. From their swinging bench, parents Bryan and Alicia would watch their 18-month-old son, Bryson, play in the yard with the family dog, Shiloh. Shiloh, a mixed breed, fit right in with the family, but he had a particularly close relationship with Bryson. As much as Shiloh loves everybody else, Bryan told Wait News, the baby and the dog have a bond. However, what was supposed to be an unbreakable bond between a little boy and his faithful dog came into question as the family spent time outside one evening in August of 2016. According to Bryan, he and Alicia had just plopped down on the swinging bench as usual, meaning Shiloh frolicked across the yard waiting for Bryson to join in. That was when the toddler stepped off the porch and into the yard. Shiloh jumped up and took off after Bryson, Bryan said. He lunged right towards the baby and at the baby's feet, and when he did, Bryson kind of jerked back. It seemed like every parent's worst nightmare. Bryan and Alicia were horrified. It looked like the dog had snapped and that he had their poor innocent baby in his sights. How could Shiloh suddenly want to harm his best friend? Before they could react, however, the couple realized something. Though Shiloh lunged at the baby, he hadn't bitten him at all. He hadn't even knocked him over. Instead, he stood in front of the boy like some sort of barrier. That was when it all clicked for Bryan. Bryan hastily turned to his wife and said, "Get the baby now and take him into the house." Alicia remembered being frightened by the fearful tone in her husband's voice. What had he seen? As it turned out, Shiloh and Bryson weren't the only critters tussling in the backyard that afternoon. They'd been joined, unwittingly, by a deadly copperhead snake. Bryan recognized its color and patterns the second he stood up. Shiloh wasn't trying to hurt Bryson at all. Rather, he was lunging at the snake in an attempt to protect his best friend. He put his own body between the baby and the serpent, even though that meant the poor pooch was now in danger himself. To be clear, this wasn't some tango with a garden snake. Shiloh put himself in serious danger when he stepped in front of the copperhead. This snake's venom causes red blood cells to break down, leaving its victims weak and defenseless. If that didn't sound bad enough, bites from a copperhead can be extremely painful. Naturally, venom that destroys your blood can't ever be a good thing. All said, Shiloh was in imminent danger. As soon as Shiloh jumped in front of Bryson, and before Bryan and Alicia could whisk him away, the copperhead lashed out. With a quick strike, the snake sank its fangs right into Shiloh's neck. Shiloh was turning his head to the side and shaking his head, and you could tell he'd been hurt, that the snake had gotten him, Bryan said. As furry as he is, and he has so much fur around his neck, you could visibly see the swelling. Thankfully, Alicia was able to yank Bryson out of harm's way unscathed thanks to their heroic dog. The snake fled, but the Holloways had a new problem to deal with. Their dog had just been injected with deadly venom. They rushed Shiloh to the animal hospital, where veterinarians treated him with pain medicine and a round of antibiotics. If he was going to survive, Shiloh would have to fight through some serious pain. Miraculously, Shiloh pulled through, and the Holloways had a newfound appreciation for their furry friend. "We give God the glory in everything," Alicia said, "and we know that he used that dog, that wonderful dog, to protect Bryson, and we're thankful every day for him now." Alicia's platitudes for the pooch continued. "Since Shiloh protected Bryson, I couldn't love this dog any more," Alicia said. "He's been babied a whole lot since this has happened, because we're very, very grateful for him." Shiloh deserved a few extra treats and belly rubs for taking the proverbial bullet for his friend. In fact, Alicia believed Shiloh was the only reason her son was alive. "He's 24 pounds, she said of her son, "and I believe that the bite would have killed him."